Every so often on this channel, I like to do things that aren't just the media analysis or review. I like to do things that may be tangentially related to that. And today's video is no exception. In fact, today's video might be a lot more tenuous than most. But this is something that I've thought about for years, about when I describe what I talk about, there's a certain pair of words that differs depending on what part of the world you're in. In this country, we like to use the word film for long-form, visual media, often with an integrated soundtrack. Way back when, you'd actually have a live orchestra to provide the audio for the most part. But once we were able to integrate a soundtrack, we could record voice, etc. Like I say, it was all one thing. That was fine for many years, calling those films, because they were recorded onto celluloid film. We still sometimes hear the term filming today to describe the act of putting the media onto it. However, because of how technology is now, we can store massive amounts of data on something no bigger than my fingernail. And that's terrifying and amazing all at once. But it's led me to question what word to use. Because in this country, we like the word film. We also dislike, rampant Americanization of our speech, shall we say. There's been plenty of children I've heard in this country who have a slightly American accent because that's what they're exposed to. And, as YouTube's come out and things like that, obviously people are more exposed to a variety of different accents, cultures, and ways of speaking, and vocabularies. So, over that side of the pond, as a lot of my viewers will know because they're on that side of the world, you say movies. Now, this is also perfectly accurate. It's a shortened version of moving pictures. It describes what it is. Now, me as a Brit, I have started saying movies instead of film for the most part because it's more accurate. I think the desire not to be Americanized has to be put to the back, and the desire to be correct has to come to the fore. At least for me. I know not everyone feels exactly the same. That's why some people look at me weird when I say movies, because it's like, well, it is. It's not a film. It's not on celluloid film. It has not been recorded in that manner. It has been all done digitally. And, entirely CG productions. You can't call those films because they're entirely made in a computer. There is no filming occurring. Now, okay, if it was something computer generated that's then been exported to film, I guess you could argue that's fine. And that has happened in the past, I'm sure. But largely, these days, what we're watching are not films. They are movies. And I implore every fellow Brit to adopt this for correctness rather than this dislike of Americanization. I hate it. I catch myself doing things constantly where I'm like, why did I say that? That's an American term. I did one this morning, I can't remember what it was, and I immediately corrected myself. But I still think movies is now correct. Now, in the indie scene, particularly in the indie horror scene, that sort of grittier feel of film compared to digital means that it's used more. So in those arenas, if I know full well it was actually put to film, I will use that term. But like I say, for now, moving forward, there should be movies. Obviously everything else is the same, TV shows, etc. Although TV shows, if they're on Netflix, they're streaming shows surely. But maybe that's another video down the line. When television, as we've known it, completely disappears and it's all just streaming, which is a realistic thing that might actually happen at some point, I'm sure, and not too far off. Maybe I'll have to review that. But for now, let's just keep it that films, for the most part, are now movies. And we Brits should be a lot happier about this. Now, before I end this video, with my usual sign-off, etc., yesterday, from me recording this, I did a thing. A couple of years ago or so, I did a video about Donnie Darko, one of my favourite things growing up. I'm not sure whether to use the word film or movie after what I've just said, so I'm avoiding it. But it's one of those films that really stuck with me, and I've taken so much from it. And my mother decided that she wanted to do something special for my 40th, which will be tomorrow from me recording this, yesterday from you watching it, or when it first goes live. And so we went and I got a tattoo. Now, of course, I've just mentioned Donnie Darko, so you've probably got a few ideas of what it is, but here is what it is. So that's 28 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes, and 12 seconds. That is when the world will end. I've got this for a number of reasons. One, I love the film, etc. But I realised that one of the things that I think I've taken from it is the fact that life is finite. And you don't always know when the last moment will be. So why not live as though it could be your last moment at any point? Take the chances. Go with all the opportunities that are laid out in front of you that you can do. Obviously, if you've got mobility issues and someone's offering you a full paid trip to hike up Everest, you're probably not gonna. But anything that's reasonable for you to do, why not? You've got one life and live it. The eagle-eyed of you may have noticed there was also a semicolon in there, and without going too far, there's a reason for that. But yeah, it's fully integrated, and it's something that means something. And I think the key thing for me was, once it was done, I was like, yeah, that belongs there. That feels right. It doesn't feel weird when I catch it out the corner of my eye or anything like that. So yeah, this might be the start of an addiction, very likely. As Amy's pointed out, the addiction's technically probably to your own endorphin rush. But still, yeah, it was an experience, and hopefully over time you'll see more tattoos being added, but there'll always be something meaningful. I think that's the right way to do it. But yeah, so that's my update. That's my discussion of terminology. So thank you very much for joining me. Next time you see me, I'll be 40. So join me for whatever's coming in the future. And until next time, as always, take care.